Welcome back to Assassin's Creed 2. On our last episode of Assassin's Creed 2, we visited Leonardo da Vinci, who graciously upgraded our hidden blade and now uses poison. After that, we went to Uncle Mario. He gave us some advice on what we should do next to find Jacopo de Pazzi. Ezio is led back to San Gimignano of Tuscany. But before starting anything, we found some glyphs that needed to be decoded and learn some things about the town, as well as getting the lay of the land. Having stayed in Tuscany a while, we begin looking for treasure chests to increase our income. However, heading toward a building, we get a data entry. The Villa Salviati. Made wealthy through his connections to the Pope, Archbishop Francesco Salviati purchased this Tuscan villa in 1475 in anticipation of becoming Archbishop of Florence. He spent the next few years having it renovated in the Tuscan style while plotting with de Pazzi family to invade Florence. Sadly, this left him very little time to enjoy it before his inevitable demise. After the conspiracy went south, archival documents indicate that Salviati swapped his archbishop outfit with one of the residents of Florence, who was then lynched in his place while he escaped to his villa. Not long after, in our travels, we come across another data entry. This structure has a glyph on it. Inspired by Greek theaters, which had similar structure, ruins of ancient Roman theaters can be found throughout the territories once ruled by the empire. Typical Roman theaters were constructed of concrete, a material no longer used in Renaissance Italy because the recipe had been lost. Their semicircular design created superior acoustics, allowing spectators to hear the plays, speeches, or choral events performed on stage. Notice the lack of marble. Renaissance Italians practiced a rudimentary form of recycling when dealing with Roman structures. Any marble that could be found was ripped off the buildings to be reused for free. Searching the Antico Teatro Romano, we find the glyph in one of the walkways.
He wanted to stop the cycle, to tell the secret. Ugh, shit! I've gotta keep thinking through the headaches.
The inventor unlocked the file. From Nikola Tesla, the economic transition of power without wires is of all-surpassing importance to man. By its means, he will gain complete mastery of the air, the sea, and the desert. It will enable him to dispense with the necessity of mining, plumbing, transporting, and burning fuel, and so do away with innumerable causes of sinful waste. It will make the living glorious, son his obedient, toiling slave. It will bring peace and harmony on earth. Signed, Nikola Tesla. Then we find a map of the world with several light bulbs placed on it. Nikola Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, under construction, C. 1902. Right away we find a message. Fights between individuals as well as governments and nations invariably result from misunderstandings in the broadest interpretation of this term. Nikola Tesla. And we see another one. Money does not represent such a value as men have placed upon it. All my money has been invested into experiments with which have made new discoveries enabling mankind to have a little easier life. A quote by Nikola Tesla. And shortly after, we find another. Misunderstandings are always caused by the inability of appreciating one another's point of view. The best way to dispel ignorance of the doings of others is by a systematic spread of general knowledge. With this object in view, it is most important to aid exchange of thought and intercourse. By Nikola Tesla. After searching a while more, I didn't find any more words on this picture. So I looked for a while for the object or picture that we needed to find, and finally found it in the center of the picture between the two windows on the top of the building.
You found it in Croatia.
Nikola Tesla, C. 1900. I searched for a while and found this message. I find the key later on. It is A equals C, but the message states, he used it to develop a bottomless source of energy. Telefunken wireless station. With the key being A equals C, you would shift every letter in this jumble of letters back 2 letters in the alphabet to get the message. Once we're done deciphering the message, we can find the apple sitting in Tesla's lap.
He found it in Croatia. They would find it in his lab.
And with that, the passcode is found, and we can unlock the next part of the truth. I thought before heading in town we should get some feathers from outside the wall. Our first one is located here. And as you can see, it's on top of one of the old Roman pillars. The next is located all the way to the southeast, on top of this church. Our next is all the way to the north. Climbing up this church, we can find it on the back of the bell tower. We now continue to find our treasure chests. However, While going to the next one, we get into a fight with a guard who happens to be standing on the rooftop of where a codex page is to be stored. So, fighting the guards off, we can quickly grab the codex.
You're not allowed through. Go!
Running by another codex, we try to dispatch these guards as quickly as possible to make our way inside. We make quick work of them. Going inside, we can collect the codex and move on. Before going back to get more treasures, we can talk to this poor woman who we see crying.
But important to me. Could you persuade the idiot I married to come home to me and stay home? I implore you.
Spear of infidelity beat up the double-crossing husband. We get to the target's location, but even with eagle vision, can't find him in the crowd. Searching a while more, we think perhaps we're looking a little too low. Getting more of a bird's eye view, we still miss him. Perhaps climbing on this wall will... And there he is. It turns out he's one of the guards. Hopefully we can make this quick, or he might fight back with force. Lucky for us, we have disarmed him, and it's now just a game of fisticuffs.
You win! Tell her I'll be a good, faithful husband!
You better. Now get out of here. Next we can move on to our courier business.
I need this delivered right away. If you're quick, I'll make it worth your while.
Wedding bells are ringing. Deliver the letter to the chapel on the other side of town before the wedding ceremony begins. Reading the letter, it says, from Ramando. Dear Vincent, I have received evidence to prove our worst suspicions. Your daughter is marrying an impostor. Although Leon claims to be a Glyph, he is, in fact, Florentine. This is further proof that those liars and cheats are trying to invade our government and further take away what little independence we have. If upon reading this your blood is boiling as much as mine, I say we drop him off the Terra Grossa. That will send a message to Florence. It must have been okay back then to open and read other people's mail. Yours, Ramando. P.S. Once you have disposed of this annoyance, my son is of eligible age, as you know. Perhaps your daughter's hand would be better suited for his... What the heck? Anyways, running to the church, we can deliver the letter swiftly.
Please, get this delivered on time and I'll repay you handsomely.
Perfect. I'm going to read it first. Speedy delivery. Quickly deliver these 3 letters to their respective destinations. From Rigarda. Dear Luca, I have been working to find a match for your daughter, but I find that most men in San Gimignano are weak and foolish, and those who are not are put off by your daughter's displays of independence. One potential suitor was shocked by her desire to leave the house without a head covering. Another was dismayed to find that she had planned the activities for the day herself. This cannot continue to go on if I am to find a husband for her. You know what? How dare she? Take out the stick and beat her if you have to, but make sure she is docile the next time I bring a suitor by. If you cannot straighten her out, we may have to consider a nunnery. Sincerely, Rigarda. Well, that's sad. From Diana. Politics, politics, always politics. You swear that you were too busy at court to visit your son, but that is a lie. I know that you do not want to be seen with him. How many heirs has your supposed wife, Bella, produced? None, by my count, and I keep track. You think that I am beneath you, and you may be right, but at least I had the courage to take care of your son rather than throw him out on the street, which many a night I yearn to do. Instead, I have raised him to be a good boy. He minds the house while I work in the shop. Now he's almost all grown up and the heir to your estate, and who do you have? An upper-class wife who commandeers your money, wears a wig, and parades around like a peacock, in spite of the fact she is as infertile as a donkey. I may envy your money and your masculinity, Vincent, but I do not envy you that. Visit our son or not, he'll have your estate soon enough. May God comfort you during the endless winter of your fertility. Ciao, Diana. Well, I mean, from this letter, it kind of sounds like he deserved it, but, you know. And finally, from Michelangelo, dear father, it has been almost a week since I abandoned my schooling. I don't expect you to understand why. I can't really explain it myself, but I feel the world flying by and I need to catch it. To become part of its tides and currents. I'm not very good with speaking or numbers, but with my hands I can shape everything flowing around me. Every moment, every mood. I know that you wanted me to become something more than an artist, but please, for the sake of my future, relent. As you have always known, I am much more interested in sculpting and painting than I am in studying, and now the artist Domenico Ghirlandaio has asked me to join him as an apprentice. He just got back from Rome, where he painted a masterful panel of the Cappella Sistina. If I work hard, I might even be invited inside the Vatican, and maybe I'll get to see it. Please give your blessing to this apprenticeship. I promise to live up to your lofty expectations, and I hope that one day you will be proud of me, your son, Michelangelo. There's a lot going on in these 3 letters. Women being oppressed, men being unfaithful and being dirtbags, really. And then Michelangelo here. I don't know if they're talking about that Michelangelo, the famous painter and sculptor, but it almost seems like it. What little I know of Michelangelo says that he was born and raised in Florence. So I don't know if his family actually came from San Gimignano or not. Either way, with this we can complete the last one just in time. Next, we find ourselves talking to a thief about beating his time.
I can beat any man in these parts when it comes to speed. They say you might be a real test for me.
San Gimignano Dash. I've heard you're pretty fast, assassin. Think you can beat my best time? I sure hope we can.
Stay back!
After our failed attempt at jumping to that bridge, we end up making it to the checkpoint with 18 seconds to spare, beating the thief's time. In our busy day, I neglected to revisit the Terra Grossa to find the assassin's tomb, but now we're back to it. Going into the tomb, we seem to start in the rat-infested sewer. Terra Grossa's secret. Infiltrate Terra Grossa and find the assassin's seal within. Alright, like the last ones, we'll try and get through this as nicely as possible, and as quickly as possible. We'll see in a bit. done getting to that seal here. Alright, so I know that I didn't mention it before, but once we're done collecting all the chests around the Tuscany countryside and in San Gimignano, we get a grand total of 14,649 florins. And with that, the chests we find in this tomb equal out to 1,000 florins. And now moving back to feathers, we find the next one right near the entrance of San Gimignano, 2 hours south. So right there. And getting there, we don't see the feather. So looking around, it's not on the front face. Not inside. Let's see if we can reach that opening there. And sure enough we can, and find the feather on the corner of the top of this wall. Our next feather should be located just around here, right above the doctor. So making our way there, we can climb the tower, work our way around, and notice our feather about halfway up on that post that's sticking out of the wall. We can get over it and drop down. Okay, for our next feather, we can find it right about there. Basically straight east. Once we get there, we don't see it. And there it is, up on the top. Let's see. Okay, we can get there pretty easily. Run over and grab it. Alright, our next one is actually right about here. Alright, so headed to that location. Let's see. There it is, right there on that post. And that's easy enough to grab. Okay, from there, our next feather is located right about on top of the tailors there. And climbing up this tower that's basically right on top of the tailors, we sure do find our feather on top of it. Grabbing it, we can use this point to jump down. The next feather we're looking for isn't super far away. It's on one of these two towers here. Alright, so getting to the two towers, we can go on up the building here. Now, I climbed up the taller tower, and it turns out that the feather is actually on the smaller tower. So, just for your reference, climb up the smaller tower, and you'll find it. It's right there on the smaller tower. And once we get our feather, we can look at a location of our next one. Excuse me. Which would be about on the blacksmith. Climbing up the tower that's nearest to or on top of the blacksmith, we again see it on the post sticking out from the wall, just before the very top. All right. Our next one is right about there at the corner of the town, if you will. And of course it is on a tower. So making our way up, we see a post that sticks out from the wall, and the feather is on it, about halfway up. And that is it for feathers in Tuscany and in San Gimignano. So we can go back to the villa and put them in Mother's box. In remembrance of Petruccio, of course. Afterwards, we can collect our funds from the villa. It's a hefty sum. And while we're here, we might as well upgrade the town.
Salute, Ser Ezio. Shall we take a look at the list?
We end up upgrading quite a few things with the funds that we've earned so far. The arch merchant, the bank, the blacksmith, pretty much everything to level 2. Might as well hit up the Thieves Guild and the well. And it looks like everything is above 5,000 to upgrade next.
Buon viaggio!
So with that, we can head back and start our assassination contracts. Reap what you sow. I've tracked one of the Pozzi benefactors to a farm due east of San Gimignano. Kill him and we'll all be safer. Signed, Lorenzo. And with that, we can make our way out to the countryside. Turning on Eagle Vision, we aren't close enough to see anyone yet. And then we spotted them behind a cart. Everyone's facing away from us, so jumping in the cart, we can assassinate our target.
You wanna fight?
Say your prayers, criminale!
And run away. Our next contract says Don't get your hands dirty. 4 of the guards in San Gimignano are plotting to have me murdered. I need them to disappear. It should not appear that you were involved. But the crowd is starting to recognize your kills. Ideally, eliminate them without using weapons. Signed, Lorenzo. I was afraid I'd fail this one because it makes a blade sound when you kill them from right here. But I didn't, so I continued. That one was successful.
Who taught you to move like that?
The next one, I hired some thieves. And they did the job for me.
Yes, yes, come on!
And then all the thieves started cheering. This last one, I wasn't sure how to go about it. And the thieves only stole from him to distract him. They didn't kill him this time. So after that, he didn't seem to mind that I was around. But I also couldn't kill him for some reason. But after pickpocketing him, I ran into a crowd to avoid any unwanted attention. So instead of me being able to kill him, I decided to leave and hire some mercenaries.
Life expectancy? About 5 more years.
We'll meet again, I'm sure.
But they just kind of walked off. I didn't know what was going on here, so I left the area to potentially find some more mercenaries. When I got back, my target's indicator on my minimap was still around, but my target wasn't. You can see here he's supposed to be standing here as he was. The fellas I hired earlier are now following me around. Even in eagle vision, I can't see the target. I don't know if this is a common thing that happens or not, but it was pretty frustrating. I ended up having to restart the mission. I ended up dying or something, restarting the mission, and it worked out. But it was still a pain considering this mission takes a very long time to complete. This time, with our target down there, I hired my mercenaries, who are very slow, but once they catch up, I'll order them to kill the target. Only one seems to have arrived, so to help them out, I hired another group. This takes a little bit of time, so we'll speed it up. And boom, finally, we've completed Don't Get Your Hands Dirty, and can move on to our next contract. Supply in demand. A local guild leader supplying the Pazzi with arms lives in San Gimignano. Tail one of his men to find him, then kill him. Signed, Lorenzo. Getting to the area, we don't see anyone just yet. And then turning the corner, he almost spots us. Ooh, that was a close one. Once he gets around the corner, we can tail him. We tail him for some time. As you can tell, the time of day even changed. Until he gets to his associates. Since we have our mercenary friends with us, we can target him and let them do our work for us. And then it's on to our next contract. Flea Market. San Gimignano has long been filled with enemies of the Medici, and conspirators there are plotting against Florence. They are located in the marketplace next to Santa Maria Assunta. Lorenzo. He didn't actually tell us to kill anyone this time, he just told us that they're there. But we can assume that's implied. We are an assassin after all. Okay, so running around the location, we can't seem to find a way in just yet. And then we find it, unfortunately, heavily guarded. That should be an easy enough task for our courtesan friends, who can distract these guards.
Wagoners and lance officers. Due to the recent outbreak of choleric humors found among cavalry, the council requires regular.
At this point, we should hire on some more mercenaries before we head on in. I have a feeling there's more than just these 4 guards.
20 quattrini to whoever brings me his head.
Sending our mercenaries in, they can make chaos for us to slip past and get to our target. Amongst the chaos, we see our target and take our chance, but the other runs away, and we must chase him down.
You shouldn't be up here.
What are you there? On him! Where did he go?
He seems to be an agile fellow, but his slip may have cost him his life. We are gaining on him. And with that, he is silenced. And after that's done, we can move on to more contracts. Vertical slice. Borgia soldiers have been spotted in San Gimignano. They may be attempting a coup. Kill them all, but make sure you aren't seen. I don't want Rodrigo to use your involvement as an excuse to go to war. Signed, Lorenzo. De Borgia and Rodrigo. I don't believe I've heard of them just yet. Maybe they mentioned him.
Get down, Stronzo!
Or them. There's 2 of them, right? Well, yeah, okay, so De Borgia. So it must be Rodrigo Borgia, right? So that makes sense. Okay, either way, there's 5 targets to kill. And we have to do it without being seen. Let's get it done. Luckily for us, most of these guards, if not all of them, are blind to their surroundings. For this next one, I decided to hire a group of mercenaries and use them to fight him instead. In this way, I am not even close to being involved. While they're dealing with that, I decide to go and deal with the other, the last target. Utilizing these beautiful ladies as cover, we can get close enough to our target before he notices he's already dead. And now we wait for our mercenaries to finish the job. But I get impatient, and once he gets close enough, I take him out myself. And it's on to the next. No camping. Our enemies are trying to band together in camps out in the countryside. Kill their leaders. Without them, the mercenaries will flee. In order to create the greatest chaos possible, try to complete the task quickly. Signed, Lorenzo. It doesn't state necessarily that we have to do this unnoticed. Perhaps we'll try it. It just says that we most likely have a time limit of 5 minutes. Okay, let's try and make this quick. Alright, our first target. Okay, he's the guy walking away. 4 minutes and counting. Let's just rush him. He seems to be more or less out in the open. That didn't work. That's a lot of guys. Oh gosh, I can't even see him. He's right there. Okay, that was good. And running away. Okay. And our next target. Where are you? Okay, he's a guy in front. Let's try running in again. Well, that worked perfectly. And running away. Since the guards are all heavy armor, we seem to be able to get away from them quickly. To get to the last guy, we had to get on a horse. And before he notices, I tried to kill him, but he did a weird jumpy thing before assassinating the target. Tried to grab him, I think. Push him off the fence. With that, we can go to our next contract. Showtime. One of the villains who hired the condottieri responsible for attacking Florence has been found. The man goes for a walk every day in the Tuscan countryside. Ambush him at the ruins of the Roman theater. Lorenzo. As long as it's for the betterment of Florence and taking out these guys, I'll do what you ask. Right? Also, if you're paying, that's also great. Alright. Making it all the way out to the countryside, to the theater, we see that there are guards everywhere. This is a man of most importance to be guarded this much. Even with eagle vision, we still don't spot him. So we need to take a walk ourselves. The highest concentration of guards is there. I'm going to assume he's somewhere in the middle of it all. Looking around for a while, we decide that we need to get into where those guards are at, and so we can employ some thieves to help us out.
Wait.
What's come over you? Karma, I'm a friend to you.
Where? I don't like the look of that one.
There! I'm dead! On him!
That didn't go quite as planned, but either way the guards are now distracted. Let's see if we can't find our man. And there he is.
After him!
Unfortunately, he saw us and ran. It's a pretty open area, so we don't have any trouble catching him and putting him down. Unfortunately, some of his loyal guards are still on us, and we almost die trying to escape, but we do make it out. And with that, that is what time we have for today's one of today's episode. It depends on if I make two or not. As always, please do comment, like, subscribe, don't like, whatever you want. If you were watching or if you made it this far, tell me what you think. I'd like to know just anything you have to tell me. If you want to talk about whatever, whether it relates to the game or not, I might actually answer.
Let me get out of your way.
Why would anyone carry on?
And again, thank you so much for watching if you did make it this far, and have yourself a wonderful time.
Not on my watch.